Namaste and welcome to Light and Lattes. My name is Geri Habstritt and my co-host, Patty Peterson, are glad to be here with you all today. Welcome everyone on Oneness Talk Radio YouTube, Oneness Talk Radio Facebook, and if you're listening to this via welcome and come on over and join us. Join us in the chat. Also have a call-in number. I'll put that. If you want to jump in and say hi, we would love to chat with you. And if you want to call in and you have any questions, medical intuitive questions, or you just want to add to what we're talking about, jump on in and say hi. We're glad to be here and glad to have you all here. Right, Patty?
Absolutely. Welcome. It's an honor and a joy to be here. And look at our topic, upleveling. We're into a new year. We haven't done a show into the new year yet, right, Jer?
No. Of 2022.
Yes.
And in case you don't know, this is going to be a year of 12 major up levels, and they're all going to happen with the full moons, all the moons. So ready for those. If you're starting to feel a little wonky or off, or things are magnified during these full moons, oftentimes 2-3 days beforehand, you start to feel it in your body. And so just know that this year, those are going to be up levels. It's your soul saying, come on, lift a little further. Come on. It's your soul urging you and nudging you to move ever more into your truth. Your truth being the reason why you took birth, why you're here, and you usually be of service to humanity in some kind of a way through your energy, through your consciousness. And so it's a nudging, and these nudgings can sometimes be unkind because the universe is saying, quick. We've been on an ascension escalator for 7 years, and this is like, we're at the top of it now, and the universe is saying, okay, it's go time. So this is what you are meant to do. This is how you are meant to show up in the world. And are you saying yes to it? If so, I'm going to help you with these moons. And so there's a lot that comes with that, right, Patty?
Oh, absolutely. It's all about, can we relax a little more of the egoic personality self to trust that soul essence, like Geri said, that who you are, that there's a reason every one of us is here, and it's to be the magnificent you. And how is that? To feel safe being you, to shine even brighter. And so often, what I'm noticing right now in my themes, each time I do a podcast, kind of say something, well, this is a theme I'm noticing, which is often what I'm looking at myself or an opportunity to. And this theme has been like things are bubbling up in people. And I can see it. It's all right there, and it's all ready to just go to release some of the old and to align more within that essence of who they are. And in that, it can sometimes, like Geri said, did you say wonky? It can be a little, we can feel these discomforts at time, and we want to share about how not to get too lost in that.
Yeah, absolutely.
Are you having a little lag in the Zoom?
As you can tell, I'm having my sound go through my speaker, and I did intend to do that. And so I was trying to turn that off. And are you hearing okay on your end?
I am. Although there's like this little lag for you. Yeah, I can hear you, but sometimes there's a lag
for me. That might be why.
Yeah.
Oh, I think I've got it figured out now. Okay, sorry.
Okay.
There we go.
All right. Just wanted to make sure you were fully there, and talk about up levels. Geri just came back from a big up level, and so she's bringing all that beautiful energy here with us.
Oh my, yes, I just got back from Ecuador, and so oftentimes there's an integration period that happens with that. Leaders don't always like up levels when field is shifting into a different frequency. The computers sometimes they go a little haywire. So So some of the things that we might mention on these up levels that happen for me is a super heightened sensitivity. And that might mean ringing in ears. That might mean aches. I've had several people comment on the sharp pangs, pings kind of pain. It might be, for me, activity with light, sound,
Yes.
different things like that. And I've discovered that if that is happening, it's super common. Pull yourself out of those things. Pull yourself away from people. Go in alone for a couple of days until your energy adjusts to that new frequency. It can be challenging. Sometimes if you're out and about with other people, you've got a lot of things bombarding your energy field. It can often be challenging to take in that new up-level frequency if you're out and about with a lot of energy interfering with it.
Absolutely. It's an act of self-love to discern, what really is in my highest good. And like Geri said, kind of pull back and really go deeper into that self-love of not judging any of it and be accepting of what all's there. I know when I got really sick in October, and it was partly a clearing out of the old for new to come in. And when I couldn't, it's like I couldn't even watch, TV shows, Netflix. Things had to be so simmered. It was like this safe cocoon. And then going out to the Walgreens and it was just like jarring. You can feel this in your system, whatever way you do. Each person, you can just sense this, and so it's really kind to pull back, be with yourself, give lots of self-love, nurturing.
Well, and I have an example of this. Shortly before I went to Ecuador, I went through an up-level experience. Now, this was before we had the up levels of the moons. These happen randomly. Take a new higher frequency. Everything was bothering me. I normally go out to a place and dance. The music was too loud. The lights were too bright. The people are harsh. It's like I almost felt like a new little baby in a big harsh. I can imagine what a dog might feel like, right? That are super sensitive. And when
how did you feel that, Geri, in your body, like in your fit? How did you feel it?
Well, for me, it was
so people trust their nose.
Bright.
Okay.
It was too bright. I was having to squint and wear sunglasses even inside of the room.
Okay.
And the bass, when I listened to the music where I go, it felt like it was coming through my entire body.
Yes.
Extremely uncomfortable.
Right.
Shortly after this, we went to Vegas, and I couldn't have been to a worse place if for a sensory overload, right? Talk about being challenged. It was
Let's throw you in the midst of energy and chaos. I mean, like lights and
yes, it was terrible. It was like 360. It was over my head, the lights flashing and the sounds and the people. I literally pulled up my hood, put sunglasses on, and I was looking for earplugs. And so what happened is when I finally got to where I was going in Ecuador, another person and I both had experiences where I just had a little stomach ache. I'm not sure what she had, but we ended up quarantined for a day for so-called COVID symptoms. Which neither of us had.
Right.
But the underlying gift was that we were meant to be alone with ourselves so we could frequency. And
exactly.
There one, everything, sometimes our soul calls for these experiences that seem unkind. I'm being taken out of my classes here, and now here I am separate, and I'm missing my classes, right? But for the higher good of me body being was to accept a higher frequency. The only way I could do that was to be separated. And so,
Yes.
and that was both of our lessons. Sometimes, not sometimes, it's always a good idea. If something is happening to you that's not fun, you get sick, you have an accident, whatever it is, oftentimes it's a timeout for a higher reason.
Yes.
And if you do a little
Yes.
journey, discover what that is.
Yes. Yes, yes. That soul will call forward. We call it a socially acceptable way to take a break. And sometimes that is through an accident or an illness. Because how often do we not really listen that, oh, my soul is calling for deeper union, that quiet time, that solitude to listen and align and discern. And sometimes illness. I had several clients say that happened in the fall, right as we were entering this 2022 energy, and saying, yeah, I got sick. And as I look back, I really needed to take a break and listen more to myself.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
Right. Well, and oftentimes these experiences will come during an up level because we're being called to a higher level. And if we continue to do things the way we've always done them in the old paradigm, sometimes the soul has to in a new way to say, okay, to be up leveled, things need to be different. And exactly when the ego will freak out, because the ego likes things count on. Yep, it likes patterns. It likes the old because it knows the old and it can control the old. And so, and oftentimes you can use it as a sign, right? If the ego starts to freak out, and you'll know that because the mind will get really busy and you'll start telling yourself, stories. You'll go into old life. I'm not good enough. I don't, whatever it is. Those are all the ego's attempts to self-sabotage. And it's a good time you can put your hand to your heart and say, I'm getting ready for something exciting to happen, something new, because my ego wouldn't be freaking out unless it was being challenged right now with the soul asking for something.
Right, exactly. And sometimes for some, it's kind of hard at first to even recognize that ego's acting up. And so it's often when we feel a big discomfort or that busy mind and anguish, and and we can stop and sit with that, the hand on the heart, and sit and go, what's underneath this? And a universal life script we all took on as a child is, I'm not good enough. And so are there pieces of that, if we haven't really addressed that much before, each time this up level energy comes, another piece may be there, a perspective or aspect tied perhaps to another belief. And so there's like 5 major life scripts that we're aware of, right? I don't fit in. How many have had that? I don't feel like I fit in, or I did something wrong. I deserve to be punished. And so these are underneath that ego, these scripts and they're tied to our inner child aspect that's still having some hurt or wound or trauma.
Or I'm not good enough. That's another one.
Yep.
And you're reminding me now, those of you who might be having the head going crazy, one hand on the heart and one hand on the head. And if you just breathe into the heart, head, you can help, just do deep conscious breaths. You can actually help balance the energy between the heart and the head.
Absolutely. And one way I do it, do you do it this way, Geri? I breathe in one and out the other, in one, out the other. Is that how you do it? That's how I do.
No, I have that way, but you sure can. That makes sense to me.
Yeah. And opening, that what's the connector between our truth chakra. And so that's, I'm visual and I picture that breath coming in, out the heart, then in the heart, out the hand. I feel throats clearing just with that. Yeah.
Yep. Yeah. And then another good thing about these little practices, and that one might seem really simple, but they're a way to make the body relax, make the body feel reassured, to help the ego relax, and it kind of breaks the pattern. You get in a habit of a life script and you find yourself going into it. Instead of going into it, to jump in and do something like this helps to break that pattern.
That's a beautiful reminder. Absolutely. Because when we are going through an up level, the ego is going to do just that reminder. It's going to fight tooth and nail, like Geri mentioned. It likes stability, it likes predictability over joy, because it just, it's known, its way of being. I've kept you safe. It's perceived because it only has this one view, right? I've kept you safe to now. How dare you step into the void? You know?
Right.
And so it's going to, and the more we can understand that that is part of this and go, as Geri mentioned earlier, wow, okay, if my ego's freaking out, this is a big moment. Can I trust myself? Can I keep commanding in that soul essence, my divine self, to lead the way? Relax, love that ego, love it for its input.
Right. And think of it as a little child, because I know people want to do battle with it, and I can see where you'd want to, because on the path of consciously constantly shifting, our biggest self-sabotager is our ego. It's the largest obstacle to getting to where we want to go. And so it can be frustrating. It's like, just, can I remove this obstacle? We need to have it. And so if you think of it, would you just the little child out? No, no. You have to love the little child. You have to love that aspect and just smile at it, like, oh, there you are again. I get, I got this. You're okay. I've got this.
Yes. Right. This mercy, what comes to my mind, Geri, is sometimes there's pieces within us from generations and past lives. These dogmas, these things that maybe we've lived through for hundreds of lifetimes, that we're ready in this lifetime to transcend. So that ego acting up can be tied to some of those old dogmas and traumas still within us, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
There's that light.
Especially if you're watching this show, many of the people that are probably attracted to this style or this show probably are lineage holders, meaning they're carrying forth a lineage forwards of certain energies that they said, I'm coming here to transmute this. So this could be, the lineage can be free. So those people are carrying a little bit more. They have a bigger responsibility.
So, yeah, and they're the ones that often felt like one of those life scripts that I never fit in, Yes.
Right. Right. Black sheep, for sure, are the lineage holders.
Yeah, and know that everything that each one of us heals within us affects the whole. It really does. Everybody, that's the truth. And, especially within your family, your children, as we align more with our soul self and our truth, it benefits way beyond ourselves.
Yeah, the effect is amazing. None of us really know, other than I often see fairly immediate reflections around me, but there's no way to know how far it goes out. We just have to trust. Just trust. And as the heart opens more, the power again, the greater effect you have. So to constantly be opening the heart will always serve yourself and everyone around you.
Exactly. And I may have quoted this before. And what I'm remembering from Greg Braden's work with spirituality and science, and he says, he has it in a science formula, the square root of 1% of a given population to make a difference. And this was some time ago. And so even that, you go, okay, me within my family, me holding more peace, love, joy affects my whole family, and so for the left brain, that that may fit hearing that too.
Mm-hmm. So, let me see. What more can we share about up-leveling? Do you have anything coming?
Well,
Business?
I'm thinking about, what comes to my mind is sometimes when we step into sacred land in different places, we've all been different places that carry maybe portals, and when you step into something like that, you can get an up level energy, right? And how do you feel?
Mm-hmm.
What comes up? I remember my first time even like at Lake Atitlan, and I had these wobbly knees. You could so feel it until I could stabilize there for a while. So in my travel since then, you and I were in Glacier, right? And we felt those portals there. And, those opportunities can come in too, that perhaps you're being called to go to certain areas. And there's often something to give or receive for some of your soul up leveling.
Mm-hmm.
All right. I know I've seen when I've stepped. Oops, go ahead, dear.
Oh, I was just going to say that it's just so important to trust your intuition. So if your intention is that to be, whatever the greatest you that you can be, or to be more, or to embody your soul's energy into your body, which is sacred union, and you feel called to just go somewhere to take off and do that, because chances are there is an energy there that's calling for you, either something to resolve or something to receive or someone to meet or whatever it might be.
Yeah, some people, there's been like an awakening, to just step back there, and that was enough to catalyze an awakening. And so I went out, I believe it was Archangel Zadkiel that said, many of us will be moving or going to different areas for our souls. I mean, our souls guiding us, our intuition, for our highest good. And to trust that, to really, really trust. The mind's going to go, how am I going to afford that? How's that going to work? And I know you've done it.
Yeah. Yep. And I've always found that when it is to support my journey, if it's something that I'm being guided to do and I say yes, even though maybe the funds aren't in the bank at the time, they always show up. Like everything we need to support our journey will show up.
Yes.
And I've been shown that time and time again in the funniest of ways.
Agreed. Yes. That's another thing for us to take to heart, is step out, really trust, call it in, know you deserve, and watch what shows up in the craziest ways. You'll get the support's always there. We're not alone. And if it's for our highest, it will flow. Yes.
And there's
so, Geri,
many people. Go ahead.
No, go ahead. You go ahead.
There's many people now that are being called to up level really quickly.
Yes.
Because like I mentioned earlier, this ascension, that was a 7-year process. So basically, those who are called to awake had 7 years to adjust the frequency slowly, so that it was kind and easy for the body. There's many people now that said, "Catch the train," but I'm catching it catching it at the end.
Right.
That are being called to up level money.
Yes.
And their time, their body doesn't have a lot of time to add to it. So just be aware that it can be a challenge.
Right. To remind the body we're lifting together. And I know, myself back in somewhere around 2008, just intuitively, I was stepping into, I was awakening, and intuitively the diet started to change. It's like, oh, I can't look at, meat anymore. And then the dairy, and then, the fish, and it wants to lighten, to make that smoother for you. And so really paying attention to what our guidance is telling us during these up levels. When I was sick, it was very clear. My body didn't want to go, near sugar or grains, or, so listening and developing, let the body share its wisdom with you. and pay attention, lots more water and nurturing.
Yeah.
And so
Well,
those symptoms can be
well,
easier.
and it seems like that's part of the experience, even enlightening ever more, is things eventually get to be heavy to digest, specifically corn and wheat and, and oats, and same thing for sugars. So those, I'm finding even those things are gradually on their own, just because it's
Yes, yes, yes.
you
Because you're
enlighten, that
eating more for
heavier
your
stuff
soul.
just doesn't serve anymore.
Right, because you're eating for your soul, not your ego, right?
Right.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. So when we, I know when
Absolutely.
I'm wanting to reach for something, check in. Oh, is this my ego really just needing to, feel stuff my intuition, or am I feeding my soul? So during up levels, you really may notice those shifts. How about another practice, Geri, the safe
Absolutely.
practice? Yeah. So we mentioned, this is
Yeah.
one for starting to feel. And then the safe is, stop. S is stop. That ego is flaring. You're feeling triggered. Just stop. Acknowledge it. That's where we don't distract, run. We just acknowledge, oh, I'm feeling hurt. I'm feeling sad. And know that it's the inner child. Feel that. Don't stay swimming in it, but the F for safe is feel it. Don't stuff it. Feel it. And then E is, what is it, Jer?
Expand.
Yes.
Expand out of it. Right. There's always more that meets the eye.
Yes.
So
How
see yourself
exciting.
on
I
in an
believe
airplane.
right. Wow. What if this up level is my grandest dream coming? This new door is opening. What's going through there? Should I feel safe? Keep trusting my guidance and going ahead with that.
Yeah, and it's an ongoing thing, right? This process, it's like
In
you
this
never really
lifetime,
you never get there, wherever
no,
there is. It's just
no.
it's a constant moving forward. It's a constant saying yes. It's a constant saying taking action steps, and it's a constant reassuring the ego.
Very much. Yes, loving self more, up-leveling our self-love. And true self-love is that I accept exactly where I am in this moment.
Right.
That we're not judging it, and one of the themes that came up for me recently was I'm getting left behind. Now, that can be a very old pattern from way back when or whatever, but how can we then step into I accept exactly where I am in this moment, and go to our goodness. Notice your goodness. Connect with that.
Yeah, well, I have found that anytime you smile at a pattern or laugh at it, you can clear it out so much. And it's hard to do because you might be mad, you might be sad, you might be one of those. Well, chances will be one of those. And somehow just smile and laugh. It's just really a
Yes.
quick,
Yes.
a quick way to stop that pattern and to actually shift an experience almost immediately.
True, Jared. That's a beautiful reminder. I remember Archangel Zadkiel through an ensoulment also saying that too serious. Play, dance, smile at some of our old patterns. Oh, look, that's here again. I love you. Okay, let's break that up. Let's put on music. Let's love it more. Let's trust.
I have a great story, a quick story of a girlfriend, and she was going through an experience, and she ran out of gas exit ramp where she was supposed to gas station, and so she was sitting right there, and she walked over to the gas station. Gas behind her was really upset. She was blocking, honking and mad at her, yelling, and had gotten flustered. could have gotten angry. She could have done any number. She started laughing hysterically. By the time she got to the gas pump to go in and get gas, some guy walked over with $100 bill and offered to, here you go, here's $100.
Love it.
At the gas station. So that was a direct result of her laughing. Just laughing,
Yep.
and she shattered.
Broke that pattern of that. Yep. Broke that pattern, lifted above it. I love it. That is perfect.
Well, okay, we are already at the end of our time. So I want to thank one, if you were in the chat or you weren't in the chat, or maybe you're catching this later. Thank you so much for listening. We doing this, and jump into, if you have any show ideas ever, you can make comments on our YouTube page. We read those, so go ahead and do that. Or if you think you ever would like to be on the show, we would welcome that as well. So all for listening, and hope you have a great rest of your week. Namaste.
Thank you.